What's up, everyone? Champ Bet's back again for another UFC predictions video. This time we have UFC Denver, Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Very excited for this card. A lot of people are kind of hating on it. I disagree. There's a lot of good fights. Maybe not the most name value, but if you know, you know. I'm very excited for this card. So, and there's some betting opportunities I think that are pretty good. I do think this is going to be probably a pretty hard card to bet on, but we can find our spots. We can go ahead and do it. But first, as always, let's go back to the last week or 2 weeks ago because we had a week off, sadly. UFC 303. I ended up profiting. I did well. I ended up profiting pretty well. Would have been nice if Yuri Prohaska won, but it's not going to complain too much. A win's a win. So we can go over those ones just real quick. Jillian Robertson was my biggest bet. She freaking pulled through. She freaking pulled through. Yeah, she did everything I thought she did. And Watterson, I mean, she was gonna retire that night. And yeah, that was a great call. No problem with the takedowns. Her stand-up looked the best it's ever looked. I think the kicks need work, but like her hands they're like significantly better than I've ever seen them before. And I was very impressed by that for Jillian Robertson. And I was very happy to see that. And I think, man, she can do really good things at 115. If you get on the ground with her, there's trouble to be had. You don't want to be on the ground with this girl. So yeah. Charles Jourdain, goddamn Gene Silva. That I mean, just dusting him up. I thought Jourdain was looking pretty good, but like just you could tell like the shots Gene Silva was hitting him with, brutal, and that was a great win by Gene Silva. I didn't put too much on it. I did bet the fight not to go to decision. I thought that would be in favor of Jourdain, but I was like, you never know. You never know, and I'm glad I didn't bet it specifically Jourdain by finish. So that was a good move by me. Ended up losing a little bit of money on that, but that's not a big deal. Andre Philly, Club Swanson. I got freaking lucky here. I didn't bet too much on this one. I was in like super like all in on Andre Philly, but I thought he would get the win. I thought he looked really bad. I'm not gonna lie. I was really shocked. It's like, what the hell is Touchy Feely doing? It doesn't look like the speed wasn't all there, I thought. And like most of the shots I think a lot of people thought were connecting, or I mean they were connecting, but I felt like they were getting blocked very well by Cub Swanson. I thought Cub won that fight, but I don't know. I'll take a win when I get a win. I'm not gonna complain about it. Joe Pyfer, I wish I went a little heavier on this, but I mean, at the odds, I can understand being more hesitant. I do rate Marc-Andre Barriault. Joe Pyfer looked freaking phenomenal. He looked phenomenal, and I think, like I said in my breakdown like 2 weeks ago, this dude's a problem. You're going to be a big problem in 3-rounders. Like, this guy's not going to have to worry about his cardio because his cardio is definitely good enough for 3-rounders. He hits like a freaking truck. Danger. He's a dangerous guy. So yeah, Joe Pyfer, good one. Ian Gary. This was my second biggest bet of the card because I put in 2 different bets. Which was like, yeah, it was basically a 2.5 unit bet. And on the feet it wasn't as great as I would have liked, but he did show his grappling, and I did think like he could implement grappling if he wanted to, and if he needed to, and he absolutely did. Ian Gary is he has fight IQ. Something you have to value so much in MMA is fight IQ. To me, cardio is king, fight IQ is king. Like, those 2 things are super duper important that sometimes people just look past, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go bet blindly on some dudes. Ian Gary's fight IQ, he's willing to do what he needs to do to win, and that makes me very happy betting on him. And he looked pretty good. Like, obviously round 2, nothing really got done by him. Neither guy really hit too much. I thought round 1 on the feet he looked pretty good. And like obviously on the ground, I don't know how he didn't complete that choke, but it's okay. He's still young. He now knows he needs to work on that more. That's good. He's got like years left in this game. He's got a lot of time. And yeah, I was getting touched at round 2, but again, like when you see guys like MVP or Wonder Boy, when they fight some guys who are really good on the feet, they have to adjust. They have to adjust because their style is so hard to deal with. It doesn't mean that Ian Gary can't strike with like some of the best strikers. He absolutely can. He can strike with a Shavkat. He can strike with a JDM. He can strike with the Leon Edwards, and do very well there because stylistically they're different. So like I'm not worried about his stand up at all. And it's good to see the grappling game. It's good to see he's willing to go into that part of his game. Yeah. Very, very, very impressed with what I've seen in Ian Gary. Macy Chasson. Chicken looked phenomenal. I shouldn't say that. Hold on. Round 1 was all Mayer Bueno Silva. I'll say that. That was very clearly Mayer Bueno Silva round. But towards the end, I don't think people are mentioning this because they're like, oh, Mayer Bueno Silva, like she was dominating. Oh my god, I can't believe fight got stopped. Macy Chasson started to push the pace and get the momentum at the end of the round, and that started in round 2, and like it kept going in round 2 is what I meant to say. And I thought that fight was going to be all Macy Chasson from there. To me, it looked like Mayer Bueno Silva was tiring, and I was very, very happy to be on the side of Macy Chasson. That elbow was lethal. Chasson is good. She's like an actually like pretty all right fighter. She's pretty good at bantamweight, and very, very impressed by her performance against Mayer Bueno Silva. Good win. Anthony Smith, Roman Dolidze, disgusting. I can't believe Anthony Smith looked that bad, especially when he's the guy. Obviously, he's short notice himself, but Roman Dolidze's way more short notice than him. It's there's no excuse for you to be losing a fight like that. You really should be winning a fight like that. Honestly, if he didn't get knocked down in round 2, it's like this is a freaking close fight. Honestly, which makes it like it's just disgusting. Like I don't think Roman Dolidze's that good, and that fight didn't make me have a better opinion of him. I was like, wow, you couldn't even finish this Anthony Smith guy, and he ended up winning round 3. I thought Anthony Smith. And I was like, actually kind of crazy. I have such a low opinion of Roman Dolidze, and I can't believe it. It's still there even with a win like that. Yeah, it is what it is. I didn't go too heavy on Anthony Smith at all. I'm very happy I didn't do that. I didn't go crazy with it. So, yeah. Fair play. I did bet on Brian Ortega, of course, but obviously, like that fight fell through, and then Ige stepped in, so that's not there. So I was very, probably maybe a good thing because Ortega got sick, and I was like, oh shoot. When I was hearing this other stuff, it's like, oh, I don't like that. So. Yeah, Dan Ige stepped in. Dan Ige did very, very well. Yeah, fair play. This was my third biggest bet of the card. Yuri Prohaska against Alex Pereira. Yuri looked awful. He looked awful, and I was very, very sad about that. I mean, he just couldn't get anything off, and he looked awful. I don't know what else to say. Like, I know there's talks about him having staff. Yeah, that sucks. Short notice nature. I know Pereira wasn't probably super ready either. So it goes on both ways, of course. So yeah, not a great showing from Yuri Prohaska. I hope he can bounce back and do better in the future. So yeah, I don't really have much to say. It's like, damn, nothing went well. Nothing went well for him. So yeah. So we can scroll up and see betting performance went from 25.29 units to 29.19 units. So nice profit. And this was like from a one card I ended up betting just a little bit on. So yeah, made $1 just for funsies. So yeah, good job on that. And I'll cover the other fights on that card and my opinions on those. So let's go ahead and look at those real quick. So yeah, I went 7 of 12 on picks in the card. Ricky Simon, I'm glad I didn't bet on this one. At least didn't bet Ricky Simon on that one because I do rate Vinicius Oliveira. I'm very impressed with Vinicius Oliveira's takedown defense. Ricky Simon wasn't going crazy with the takedowns, which I probably should have, but even when he did shoot like some really good ones, Vinicius was able to at least get up or defend them very well, even when being super upright, which I think that's super, super like impressive. So yeah, no, Vinicius is that dude. I'm very impressed. Yeah, Ray Saruya beat Carlos Hernandez. He ended up winning a decision, and man, did he freaking look good. Not so great in round 3, but he definitely banked rounds 1 and 2. And this dude's grappling is just that he's on that level. He's on that level, and it's super impressive. And this dude's only gonna get better. I like what I see from this guy. Arlovsky versus Budai. I mean, I know a lot of people say they thought Arlovsky won this fight, so I'll take it. But if I'm honest, I thought it was 3-0 Budai. If I'm honest, I don't think people really made much of like the Budai strikes. Like he hit some really good uppercuts on Arlovsky that honestly I thought was just the best shots of the round, and it's like I thought he won because of that. It is what it is. I didn't bet money on Arlovsky. I was tempted to. It is what it is. I'm glad I didn't. Yeah, already talked about Jillian Robertson. I didn't talk about Peyton Talbot. Smoked Giannis Gamori. About what everyone thought. Maybe the round 1 was a surprise, but he got it done really quick. But yeah, well done. Peyton Talbot's that dude. Already talked about that one. Talked about it. Talked. And I guess I could talk about Diego Lopez, Dan Ige. Diego looked pretty good rounds 1 and 2. That grappling he implemented was, my goodness, scary. Obviously, like he wasn't going to finish Dan Ige because Dan Ige is unfinishable, as I think we've seen in the past. And Dan Ige really did push it on Lopez in round 3 on freaking I don't know how many hours notice, literally hours notice. I do think you can credit that, like him gassing Diego Lopez to short notice. I think that's a fair thing to say, but I'm not the best look. I'm not super duper high on Diego Lopez, but I mean that's a good win. Beating Dan Ige in any sort of way is a good win. Fair play. I mean, yeah, I'm happy I didn't lose money on Ortega. I hope they do make that fight though, and on full camp for Lopez Ortega. I think that would be super cool. Anyways, now we get on to why'd I do that? Now we're gonna get on to UFC Denver. Namajunas versus Cortez. Let's get on with it. Very excited for this card. And we got a new fight added to the card. Darius Flowers versus Evan Elder. I am a massive Evan Elder fan. I think he probably wins a decision. Something I'm going to mention a bunch throughout this whole breakdown, altitude. I put a lot more stock into altitude than I think a lot of other people do. And, I think it's something you have to consider, especially for people on short notice. My philosophy is that you need at least 4 weeks of preparation for altitude specifically. You need to be ready for altitude. You have to be. Doesn't mean like all people are going to be screwed from altitude. Not necessarily, but I think by rule of thumb, you have to. It's just so important to consider. Both these guys are super duper short notice. Like I'm surprised this fight even got made. I just think Evan Elder is just a way better fighter. I bet big on Evan Elder when he fought Valdez. I bet pretty big on him, and I thought he would I think I'm very high on Evan Elder. I think he'll win this fight, especially after that Sadikov fight was like, holy cow, both these guys, Sadikov and Evan Elder, are the truth. And that's boy, I see. And yeah, I think he beats Flowers. I don't rate Flowers that high. I thought that MJ performance was pitiful. It really was. He really should have went in there and won that fight. I picked MJ to win that fight. And yeah. But the short notice nature of this is just a big worry. It's just a big worry, and I'm scared of it, like betting wise. Especially at the odds it is. Maybe I parlay Elder because he's my boy, but I don't think I will. So yeah. I like Evan Elder to win though. A decision because altitude, I don't think it'll be easy to finish because of that. Josh Friend versus Andre Petrosky. This fight, man. Altitude, but to be fair, this is a fight that there's been a lot of preparation. There's been a lot of preparation for. I believe Josh Friend does train in Colorado. I'm not super duper sure about that. I know there's definitely concerns of Petrosky, like at elevation and his cardio just in general, but I do think he's able to eke out a decision with like wrestling. With the odds now minus 105, I might do a little bit on Petrosky because I do think he's just honestly way better. I don't rate Fremd really anywhere. He probably has maybe the little bit better striking on the feet, but I don't know. I do favor Petrosky's wrestling for sure. The cardio is a concern that probably does lean Fremd, so I totally get why people are taking like shots on Fremd to win. But I just see that this fight is Petrosky's able to get a takedown and be on top and win like that. So yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen. Yeah, Petrosky. Luana Santos versus Maria Agapova. This fight is such a, I don't even know what to say because Maria Agapova's story as like it's just absolutely wild because of obviously she's been having trials and tribulations. She's been gone for so long. Why has she been gone? She's battling drug abuse apparently. She got kicked out of ATT. She's not ATT anymore. I'm not even sure what gym she's at. Like when I just looked at her Instagram and I just assumed like that's the name of her freaking gym. Let me just look real quick if it will load. MMA Science Academy. I don't know if that's even a gym like legit, but there's so many red flags for Maria Agapova. There's so many. There's no denying that on the feet she has the advantage. She does, unless she's regressed randomly. I mean, who knows? I won't put it past her with those red flags. She talked about possibly being homeless without like a fight or something like that. She needs money badly. It's rough out there for her. I feel for her, but I am gonna go Luana Santos to win a decision. I'm scared because I have bet on Luana Santos at a way better odds than what it was now. I made like a way earlier bet on her, but like I'm not thoroughly like excited for it because I know Luana Santos does not have the best takedown. She doesn't, and like the girls that Agapova's gotten like taken down from is like maybe not Shayna Dobson, but like some of these other girls like do have actually like pretty good wrestling games, and like Luana, she does have some a judo background, but it scares me. And like there's cardio concerns with her on the feet. It's Agapova all day. I don't want to see Luana Santos try and strike with this girl like really much at all. That's my heart is not ready for this fight. So I haven't gone like super crazy on Luana Santos betting wise, but if she gets a takedown, if she does get the takedown, she should like steamroll in terms of like she's gonna get that round. She's gonna get that round. Maybe like there's a sub threat or whatever. I think that's possible. Luana Santos sub, but I think Luana Santos is able to get Maria Agapova down, and win like that and take it to decision. Yeah, I kind of regret it. Do not bet her at minus 400 odds right now. Do not do that. That's ridiculous. If I understand people taking the dog shot on Agapova, I'm going on Luana Santos. I do think she wins. Montel Jackson versus Damon Blackshear. This is such a great fight. I'm going with Montel Jackson in a decision. This worries me. This is another one of those instances where elevation has a chance to affect both. This is a very short notice fight. I do think I'd like Montel Jackson's hands. I do know that Blackshear has been improving his hands though. He's in Thailand. He's training at Thailand, working on his striking, and his striking is looking a lot better, that's a very good thing to see. We've seen Blackshear like gas before. I know he's like training in mountains apparently, so like he's probably trying to be prepared for the elevation. But honestly, I think Montel Jackson, has got a wrestling background. I think he's gonna keep it on the feet and win with the hands. I do think he's got very nice hands. I rate Montel Jackson a lot. I rate Blackshear a lot too, but I think Montel's got the better hands, and I think he's gonna win by keeping this fight on the feet. and maybe Blackshear gasses out. I don't know. I'm not gonna bet on that or anything like that. Probably take like an over of some kind if the odds are good enough. I'll take a look at them after like the odds. But yeah, I think Montel Jackson will win a decision. I'm not super confident in this. I'm probably not gonna bet anything on either one of these guys here. Elevation's a concern. It's a concern. Speaking of elevation's a concern, Fatima Klein versus Jasmine Jastovicius or whatever. Jastovicius. I have Jasmine here, but like I do know who Fatima Klein is. This girl is incredible. I am very, very high on Fatima Klein, and when she's at strawweight, where I don't want to be her next opponent. I do not want to be her next opponent. I do not. Fatima Klein has fought at elevation before. She has. Like I think 2 times in Invicta, and she's had a wrestling match in elevation before. But this is short notice. I do think that matters. I really do, and Jasmine was fighting Viviane Araújo. That's not necessarily the closest thing to Fatima Klein. Fatima Klein trains with Aaron Blanchfield, a legit flyweight. So I'm not like super duper worried about the size when I saw them face off. Excuse me. It's not that much of a difference, to be honest. Which, I mean, it's good to see for Fatima. But the level of competition is pretty ridiculous. Like the difference, a lot of these girls are just not impressive to like. It's not UFC level. Fatima Klein is 100% UFC level. You can tell just the way her style and how she fights. You can tell she's UFC level, but the girls she's been facing have not been. And this Jasmine's such a big step up. It's such a big step up. Jasmine has known about this date. She's been training for Denver. I know for a fact she's been using like an elevation tent to like be prepared for the elevation and get acclimated while training. I love hearing all that, and I gotta go Jasmine. I think she's been more prepared for this, and that she is going to be more physical. She's going to be easily the most physical girl Fatima's fought. To be fair, of course, Fatima trains with Aaron Blanchfield, so she's probably used to getting looks like that. But I am going to end up siding with Jasmine. I might put a bet on her, although I think the line now is just... Let me check that line now. -125. I don't think it's worth it anymore. Fatima's freaking good. I know for a fact this girl is the real freaking deal, and I would be scared to bet against her, even with these circumstances. I wish I ended up getting the Jasmine plus money. It is what it is. I'll live another day. But yeah, I'm going with Jasmine because of the elevation concerns. Speaking of elevation concerns, Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. Both these guys have not trained for elevation. This is a short notice fight. And again, because of that, I'm not confident. I think I'm probably more willing to take like an over. I bet you the over number is so disgusting in this fight, though. So I'm not even sure if that's even worth it. I'm gonna go with Charles Johnson to win this fight. I'm not confident in this at all. Charles Johnson's getting what he wants for once. He's fighting a guy who's not going to try and take him down all the time. I think Charles Johnson's like, I can't believe it. This is like the first time in my life it's ever happened to me. And I think anytime Charles Johnson has that opportunity, he's got a very good chance of winning. And I think he can even implement his own grappling and use that against Van. I think there's a chance of that. I am worried about Joshua Van's body shots. I think, especially at like elevation, there's a possibility of dudes gassing out when they usually don't gas out. Like, that's always a possibility. You could hurt Charles to the body. I might take a shot because he's a dog, like on the odds. Like, how much of a dog is he on the odds? Charles Johnson. Plus 190. I might take like a very, very small shot, but it's just you can't be confident in like either guy. Both guys are super good. Yeah, this is a step up for Joshua Van, going from Felipe Bunez, Borjas. I do rate Borjas. Zhumagulov, who was pretty good, should have beat Charles Johnson, but I'll see whatever. I think Charles Johnson's able to use his kicks. I think he'll win round 1. Do I? I don't know. I do understand the point that people make where Joshua Van is like, he's going to be the moments winner, and like it's going to be a battle between who's going to win the minutes and stuff like that. But yeah, Charles Johnson's fought so much better competition, I think, and I think he's going to be able to come in here and win. But confidence, I don't know, man. I'm not super confident. Speaking of not confident, Cody Brundage versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. For once now, both these guys are ready for elevation. Both these guys are training out of Denver. Don't have to worry about that at all for this one. I believe Brundage at Factory X and Allison's at I can't think of the name. Elevation. I believe he's at Elevation Fight Team. It's either Al Hassan KO. I mean, actually, no, I shouldn't say either. It's not just two options. Al Hassan KO is his best path for sure, but he can win a decision. It's not like I'm gonna go with Brundage decision. Am I a little bit foolish to maybe pick for decision instead of round 1 because usually both these guys are like finishers? Probably, but it is what it is. I think Brundage is going to be able to wrestle with Al Hassan. I think that's the path to victory for Brundage that will work out the best for him. And I think that's what he needs to do here. I think betting on this fight is like insanity. I'd be, my great follicles falling down. Just like how many years you'll age from betting on this fight. Al Hassan is definitely live to KO him, like especially 3 minutes. But if we're past those 3 minutes, it could go either way, but I'd still I'd probably hazard Brundage probably going to be the one pushing and guy being on top of the wrestling and win like that. That's really what I think it comes down to, and that's what I'm going with. Yeah, I'm going with Cody Brundage. Not confident at all, but yeah. Christian Rodriguez versus Julian Rosa. Both guys ready for elevation. We should be good to go here. I like Christian Rodriguez to win. Let's say a decision. Juicy J is tough. I know he's been finished by like dudes he probably shouldn't have been finished by. Christian Rodriguez is freaking that dude. I love me some Christian Rodriguez. I'm a big fan of this guy. I picked him against Raul Rosas Jr. It felt like the smartest dude in the world. If only I wasn't at 287 because I would have bet it. But it is what it is. Only time I've ever picked against Christian Rodriguez was against Cameron Simon, who I think is the real deal. I do think is still the real deal, even if he lost to Christian Rodriguez and he lost to Peyton Talbot. Those guys are really good too. And Simon's super young. It is what it is. No big deal. But Christian Rodriguez, man, I love this guy. Ever since I saw his Contender Series fight, I was like, this dude is a monster. I don't think his finishing ability is crazy or anything like that. So that's why I'm going with decision. But I do think, I mean, anyone's probably alive to finish Erosa. Erosa always brings a dogfight. We love Julian Erosa. We love you, CJ. He cashed for me in his last fight against Ricardo Ramos. But man, this dude Christian Rodriguez, even with like a size disadvantage here in this fight, I don't think it freaking matters. This dude is so good with the boxing. Can scramble for freaking days. Got a good chin on him. This guy's good, man. I love Christian Rodriguez. I think I'm definitely gonna bet on him. I definitely have money on him. And yeah, I love Christian Rodriguez here. I think he should probably be a bigger favorite than he already is. Yeah. So yeah, and I'm gonna like him even more when he goes back down to bantamweight, because I'm pretty sure he's been told that just one more fight at featherweight, which is this one, and now you can go back down to bantamweight. I mean, to be able to survive the onslaught from Bulgarian and put it on him like that, impressive. It's just impressive. Love me some Christian Rodriguez. And he paid me on that one too. It made me very happy. Next, I have the card. Gabriel Bonfim versus Ange Loosa. I'm going with Ange Loosa to finish him round 2. Which is what his own prediction is. What do you know? But both guys should be ready for elevation. They should be. I do believe Bonfim was able to get there early to try and acclimate. But if I have to talk about Bonfim's last performance against Dalby. Like, it's not the end of the world you lost to Dalby. I get it. Dalby's good. Dalby is good. I mean, had a really good fight with Renat. Impressive. Angelusa does not get finished. This dude is durable as hell. Maybe he would have gotten finished by Brian Battle, who I bet on. I'm very disappointed about that. But I think so much is being made of that fight for Angelusa. Brian Battle is that dude. I don't think people understand just how good this dude Brian Battle is. I think Brian Battle he's ready for the top 15. And Angelusa, he was getting freaking schooled. He was getting schooled. He was getting his ass whooped, as Brian Battle put it. And it was such a bad look that Angelusa basically quit. He quit. He 100% did. But what that means to me, motivation's higher than ever before. I know for a fact Angelusa has fought at elevation before, and he's done well on it. He does like to push the pace. It's a very similar fight to Dalby. It is very similar. The interesting thing is with Dalby. Dalby basically does what he did to Bonfim. He does what he did to Bonfim, where he's like, okay, I don't mind losing round 1, but now the pace is going to get to you. It's going to get to you. He doesn't usually finish dudes when he does that. He doesn't finish dudes. He finished Gabriel Bonfim. I'm not even saying, I'm like, Dalby does it, but he doesn't finish dudes. Like, to get finished like that, it's just such a bad look. I worry about his cardio. Gabriel Bonfim really likes to go ahead and go get finishes. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, but you look at Ismail Bonfim last time. He took it easy. He took it easy against Vince Pichel. What was it? 301. It was the Brazil card. I bet on Ismail. I was very, very confident in him to win that fight. And they took it easy. He's gonna do the same thing here, but like, you're changing the way your style works. Like, I'm not sure if that's necessarily going to help you. I do think Gabriel Bonfim is very good. I do think he's probably the better Bonfim, bro. But like, just a guy as durable as Angelusa, who I know can push that pace at elevation, which is like, I think it's something you do have to consider with someone who's gassed out like Gabriel Bonfim has. I like Angelusa to win. Also, there's not much of the reach difference it favors freaking Angelusa. Obviously, the height favors Bonfim, but this is not some crazy reach difference we got here in this fight. I think people are forgetting just how good Angelusa is. Angelusa is no bum. He's no bum. He looked like one last time because that's how good Brian Battle is. I gotta take the dog shot here. I ended up getting Angelusa at plus 300, and I'm willing to ride with it. I didn't go crazy with it. I don't think it's worth to go crazy with it, but I think Angelusa's good. He's good enough. He's gonna want to bounce back after that last one, where he got absolutely freaking embarrassed. He got embarrassed. I do like what I heard in an interview talking about how I'm going to push the pace. I'm pushing the pace on this guy. I like that. I want him to push the pace on Gabriel Bonfim. Just don't get yourself finished. I don't even know if you can sub this guy, Angelusa. Got good enough wrestling. I think he can get with wrestling exchanges. Obviously, it's dangerous to have Bonfim in the ground with you, but I think he's good enough in the wrestling. Stay on top, win like that. I think he can finish this guy. I think so. So yeah, Angelusa. My cojones play. I'm going with Angelusa. I'm going with big underdog. Drew Dober versus Gene Silva. I'm going with Drew Dober to knock him out in round 2. This is another fight where elevation is a concern. Not for Drew Dober though. Excuse me. Drew Dober trains at Denver. He is 100% ready. He's known about this date. He's been wanting to get this fight. With the KO, he gets the KO record. I think maybe the UFC wants him to get that record. Maybe, perhaps. Not why I'm picking him, of course, but something to consider. And Gene Silva is also off of a great win against Charles Jourdain. It's a great win. Missed weight. Not happy about that, but it is what it is. We're up weight class now, 155. I know a lot of people were worried about Drew Dober. He hasn't looked so great in his last few fights. Recchi Gunn, who cares? I understand that. Renato Moicano held down. He did hurt Moicano though. Let's be real. That's impressive. And Matt Favola flatlined him. and not flatline, but dropped him bad. Drew Dober is a freaking warrior. He's a warrior, and I think in his hometown of Denver, where he trains out of and he fights out of, I think he's going to go freaking ham. I think Gene Silva, it's round 1 or bust. And is it possible Gene Silva gets to finish round 1? Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that. But if you're not training for this elevation, like, I don't care if you're in fight ready shape. You can be in fight ready shape. Fight ready, Tracy Cortez. I didn't even mean that, but even if you're in fight ready shape, it matters so much. Paul Felder, let me actually pull this up because I think this was really. I thought this was super interesting what Paul Felder said. Let me go ahead and find it. He said something so interesting that I was like, I have to mention this. I'll just quote it. I'm not pull it up. Actually, no. Why would I? Let's do this. He commented on Luke Thomas's thing, where Luke Thomas talked about how long does it take to become fully acclimated to Denver, Colorado at 5,280 feet, and it's like you need at least like 3 weeks, because it was talking about like Tracy Cortez, she got acclimated to in 2 days, which is just literally physiologically impossible. I'll get more into that, but the point I want to make, I'll just switch over the screen. So why would I not do that? Here we go. Problem is that acclimated doesn't mean performance ready. Like, you might be adjusted to the air. You like people. You come in as like, oh, I'm already like in fight shape. It's like, you've adjusted to the air, but you haven't been putting in the same workload intensity that you would be at sea level. Once acclimated, then the work really begins. You have to get acclimated in order to be like fully ready. And feeling good for fight workouts is far different for 5 rounds of gas. And then that's talking about Tracy Cortez in the main event, of course, which why is relevant. And this is relevant because obviously Gene Silva is in fight ready shape. He just fought not too long ago. He's ready to go. You're not ready for this elevation. It's not the same. You have to be acclimated. And again, that's why I believe Gene Silva's round 1 or bust. He can absolutely get Joe Brown out of there round 1. I'm repeating myself. I think if this goes over round 1, Drew Dober wins at a high clip. I have to bet it. I think I have to bet it at this point, especially with him now becoming basically a dog at even money. I have to take a shot on it. I like Drew Dober to win this fight. Yeah, and I think he'll be able to chin him. And get that record. Go get that record, Drew Dober. Next fight up the card, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Muslim Salikov. Man, Ponzinibbio looked great on the scale. I have to tell you that. He looked great on the scale. I like Ponzi to win. KO or decision? Let's go with KO. Salikov is old. I think at this point Salikov is old. And honestly, I really like Ponzinibbio in this matchup because I think he's just less washed. I think he's just the less washed one of the two. Like, obviously, obviously it's not a good look to have a Morono beating you up, but then he finds the shot and puts you out. That's not a great sign. But I mean, these fights Salikov has been having just not a great look. Like, okay, he beat Andre Fiallo, who's been KO'd by everyone, is like not super great. Dalby just completely smokes you, gets you tired. Randy Brown knocks you out bad. And that was like not even that super long ago. He knocked him out bad 5 months ago. And Kevin Holland knocked out Ponzi a while ago. And I do want to mention the levels of competition these guys have been fighting is just levels apart. Jeff Neal, Michel Pereira, Alex Morono. I mean, yeah, Kevin Holland. These guys are really good that Ponzi's been fighting. I think that matters here. I think Ponzi can really put it on Salikov. I do know Salikov has been training at elevation. He's been training with Al Hassan. I've heard that. Not so much sure about Ponzinibbio, but like Ponzinibbio's not. This fight's been known. Should be fight ready for this fight. I like Ponzinibbio to win. I'm probably gonna bet him, especially as the odds keep coming down. I'm probably gonna bet Ponzinibbio, and I think I know a lot of people are worried about betting this fight. I'm not so much worried. I think Ponzinibbio's like, he really should be the one to put on Salikov. Salikov is freaking clean with his striking. There's no denying that. Even with his old age, he's clean as hell. But Ponzinibbio's gonna put it on him, and I like that here. I like that here. And we have our main event: Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. I like Rose to probably. I'll go with the decision. I'll let Tracy get her. You're tough. I think she is tough, and she'll be willing to not die in there and not just tap out. But I think this fight's for Rose all day because of all the things. Obviously, that Paul Felder thing I read out earlier when talking about Drew Dober and Gene Silva, that was speaking all about Tracy Cortez. Circumstances are literally all against Tracy Cortez. She was planning on fighting Miranda Maverick, who I really rate Miranda Maverick, by the way. I'm going to definitely pick her, and I'm definitely going to bet a lot on her. But it's a completely different style matchup to Rose Namajunas. When did she get this fight booked? 3 weeks out. You need, I think, to be fight ready and fully acclimated for a 5-rounder. You need at least 4 weeks. And I remember Leon Edwards, he talked about how you need, I think, 6 weeks or something like that, an even longer amount of time. Because they talked to an expert about elevation, after his Kamaru Usman fight with the second fight, saying what, I don't know what happened. My cardio is so good because Leon Edwards never gasses out. It just makes literally no sense. And that's why you need to be. You can't come in I came in a week before. I'll be good. That's not how it works. And Rose has been. I don't think she's at Denver for this one, but maybe training it out of Denver. I'm not actually sure if she. I think she's at Michigan, but whatever the case, she's known about this date, and if she is in Denver, I mean, perfect. If she isn't in Denver or Colorado in general for the elevation, she knows, and she'll definitely be prepared for it. I'm not worried about that for Rose. Tracy Cortez, some of the comments I've heard from her, it's just I don't know if she realizes how much of a big deal elevation is, and especially with her style, you need to be ready cardio wise. And we've seen Cortez not do so great cardio wise. I think the Jasmine fight where she was piecing her up, she pieced up Jasmine Justavicius. Jasmine was basically had nothing because her orbital was broken in that fight, but she was still able to actually somewhat push Tracy Cortez, which is I don't think that's the best thing to be showing. Obviously, great win, but I think that matters. And especially this is Tracy Cortez's first 5-rounder. That's something that matters. I know Rose Namajunas has done 5 rounds before. She's won in 5-rounders before. I thought she looked good against Hebos. I know other people don't think that at all, but I definitely thought she looked good. Rose Namajunas has fought physical girls. I probably would have picked Macy Barber to beat her, but Macy Barber's really freaking good, and she was going to be ready for elevation. Tracy Cortez is not going to be. And we've seen Rose Namajunas do good against a physical girl. Mena Fiore is the most physical girl in this division. She is. And everyone else pales in comparison to her. And Rose Namajunas, with basically one hand, was able to do pretty good. She lost that fight, but she did pretty good on enemy territory. And that's impressive. That's just impressive. And I think freaking Mena Fiore's wins keep getting better and better and better. And somehow it's impressive, her resume, Mena Fiore. But anyways, besides the point. Rose Namajunas is now having more time to be a flyweight. She's growing into flyweight even more. She looks good at flyweight now. She's looking way better. And I think she's gonna just getting more situated in this weight class. It's just only to her benefit. And maybe off of Tracy Cortez's last fight, she's gonna rely on striking more. I don't think that goes well for her. And I honestly, I don't think her wrestling is gonna go super well for her either in this fight. Rose Namajunas gets taken down. She does get taken down. But did she get held down? No, she doesn't get held down really much at all. And I think because of that, this is Rose all day. This is Rose all day with all these factors. Maybe if Tracy Cortez was not on, had a full camp and was ready, I wouldn't be anywhere near as like, oh yeah, this is Rose all day. I have to go Rose here. I'm maybe not very confident. Because maybe she does have a stinker. You never know with Rose. She's not with Trevor Whitman anymore. That's not great, but I think she's just flat out better. So yeah, that's what I think overall on this card. So let's recap, and I'll talk about the bets that I think will be all right, because now I have odds and stuff like that for it. So I think Evan Elder should win. Probably like I think better just stay away from this one, if I'm honest. Just stay away. Maybe most takedowns, like the fighter that have most takedowns on Evan Elder. I think that's an all right bet. Yeah. Andre Petroski. I think Petroski money line is like the best thing you can get as of now. There's nothing I'm really super like intrigued by, because I think Petroski has a chance to finish in round 1, but I'm not willing to go ahead and play that. Most 6 strikes. Yeah, I'm not. Most takedowns, I guess, but minus 550, disgusting odds. It's not worth betting. Oops. Luana Santos, Maria Agapova. Don't bet this fight as of now. I have money on Luana Santos, but honestly, I'm scared to death of her. I'm scared to death, so she'll kill me in the end. Probably most takedowns on Luana Santos is safe, but minus 800 is not worth betting. Yeah, I think stay away personally. If you do think Agapova is gonna win, I don't think that's a bad play at all. Montel Jackson versus Damon Blackshear. Probably an over. I think you can get away with betting an over. These odds are nasty though. Like an over, like 1.5 type of thing. Minus 410. Those odds, though, I just don't want to play it. I don't want to play anything on this fight, if I'm honest. I just don't. Next fight up the card, Jasmine versus Fatima. I don't want to bet Jasmine at these odds anymore. I do think she wins. Most takedown. Well, this is an interesting line. Most takedowns landed, Jasmine minus 200, Fatima plus 150. I might take the shot on Fatima on that one. Just plus 150 odds wise. I don't think I can post on betmma.tips, which sucks, but that's actually really interesting. Because I do think Fatima is going to land takedowns. Well, we'll see. I mean, you can still play Jasmine at minus 125. I don't think that's a bad play at all. But I'm just going to stay away. Fatima, scary to bet against, in my opinion. Charles Johnson versus Joshua Van. If you like Charles Johnson, I think Charles Johnson money lines, it's okay to go with. Be warned of the elevation. I think that's rightful to be somewhat concerned about. I do think an over should be pretty safe here, although those odds are disgusting. An over should be safe, but again, elevation. We'll see things that we're not used to seeing because of elevation. It is worrisome, so should mention that. Brundage versus Al Hassan. If you like Brundage, I think money line's all right because he's a dog. Probably an over would be okay, but I can't be bothered to bet anything on this fight personally. Just personally speaking. Maybe Brundage most takedowns minus 350, because I don't think Al Hassan's gonna be shooting takedowns, but it's who knows. I think Christian Rodriguez money line straight up is a great bet. I think that's one of the best bets on the card. Christian Rodriguez and over 1.5 rounds is interesting, minus 135. But who knows? Rosa's chinny. You never know with DeRosa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Christian Rodriguez. I think money line's the way to go. I think Angelusa money line. I'll take that. Just give it to me. Happily take that. Angelusa by finish, I think I'd probably KO. I think that's pretty live. Only a sprinkle. I'm not gonna like. Oh, I'm putting the whole bankroll on Angelusa. Hell no. Over my dead body, I do that. I do think Angelusa is pretty good though, and I think he's pretty live to win. Angelusa plus 3.5 does have my eye. It's interesting. Let me because I think there's a chance this goes to decision because Angelusa's tough as hell. Yeah. Pretty well. Drew Dober. I think Drew Dober is gonna go for that KO. And I think he will go and get that to KO. So honestly, I'll probably bet it, and I'll probably bet a little bit on the money line as well. So yeah, most significant strikes, most takedowns. Most takedowns, Drew Dober, I think is sneaky. I think it's pretty sneaky, and I think I've heard in his interview, I think with MMA Junkie, where he's like, my coaches are telling me to grapple more. It's like maybe a smart thing to do. And yeah, I think Drew Dober can absolutely do that if he really desires to. Ponzinibbio. I think Ponzinibbio money line now is a great play at this point. I do like it. I like it more than a lot of other people do. I think most significant strikes Ponzinibbio should be pretty good as well because Ponzi does put up striking numbers, which we'd like to see, and I think that would be good in this fight. And our main event, I think Rose Namajunas money line is okay with me. -220 feels about right to me. Or if you really want to like lower the line, Rose Namajunas to win in round 2 to start, I think that's very likely to happen. I think Tracy Cortez is tough. So I think you can go ahead and do that, no problem. And if Tracy Cortez does get finished, I think it's probably in the later rounds. But who knows? Maybe Rose Namajunas head kick. If you don't want to take that chance, just take Rose money line. Yeah. Rose most significant strikes -275. I think that's okay. I wouldn't bet too much on that. Yeah, Rose into probably like a smaller over, I think is good to go. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, you can check me out on betmma.tips under Champets or my website champetsmma.com. And those are my predictions. I'm excited for this card. Didn't expect this breakdown to take so long, but it is what it is. Sometimes we like to get into it. So yeah, let's go. See you guys next time. Have a great one. Can't wait for next week, actually, because next week has a really good, surprisingly really good card slept on. So yeah, on the Apex. So yeah, let's go. Champ bets.